Hello everyone. Today we will present about import tariff about car. My name is Kanokpun Sriruji.
My name is Gul Thawal-unnop.
My name is Kolanya Akrapitak.
My name is Chonlanet Boonritlakana.
My name is Pakinee Siritana.
Introduction. Tariff are trade policy aimed at limiting trade by imposing on both imports and export. In the past, tariffs were used as a tool to restrict trade or to protect domestic industry. Import duty and export duty are taxed per product according to the tariff rate specified for each type of product. In this section, the focus will be on import duties.
About import tariff. Next. However, import tariff hurt international trade by reducing the efficiency of international trade and reducing the volume of international trade. In addition, import tariffs also harm domestic consumers. It can be described in two periods. First, the period before the import tax. Second, the period after the import tax. Next. First, the period before the import tax. Next. International trade is considered to be of great benefit to the national economy and the world economy. International trade promotes production according to the country's comparative advantage. According to David Ricardo's theories, countries that import products from other countries having a comparative advantage in production, the product will benefit from a lower price than the production itself. Cheaper foreign price result in lower market price. Lower prices are beneficial to domestic consumers because consumers can buy the same amount of goods for less money, but lower prices are detrimental to domestic producers. International trade also increases the overall welfare within the country. Next. It can be described as a following graph.
Before the import tax graph, the graph showed the domestic demand and supply of car within the countries. It can be explained that before international trade and domestic equilibrium price is at the P1 point, and the domestic equilibrium quantity is at the Q2 point. With this price and quantity, the domestic consumer surplus is equal to the triangle red area. And the domestic producer surplus is at the triangle blue area. After international trade, cheap foreign cars can compete in the market more, causing the market price to drop from P1 to P2, resulting in consumer consuming more from Q2 to Q3. Because of lower car price, producers experiencing more price competition have less willing sell their car from Q2 to Q1 because car prices are less attractive. The international trade increased domestic welfare, which is the triangle yellow area. Where welfare increase will be a portion of the consumer surplus, causing the consumer surplus to increase to the ACP2 area. But the producer will have the welfare reduced to 0, P2 and B. In conclusion, international trade increased the overall welfare of the country by increasing the consumer surplus. In addition, the price of cars sold will be lower, causing consumers to increase consumption, but manufacturers reduce production. It means that consumption that exceeds the production of domestic manufacturer is the consumption of foreign car or the Q1, BC, and Q3 as the rectangle one.
Second, the periods after import tax. International trade is beneficial to the economy and increase welfare, but international trade can harm domestic business. International trade results in import of foreign goods that are very cheap, thus lowering domestic prices. Business operating in the country can compete if they set higher prices, so they have to compete at import price and reduce production volume. As a result, domestic business suffer from lower revenue and may suffer loss. If this goes on in the long run, the business may eventually go out of business. Therefore, import tax has been introduced to help business in the country, but it can cause deadweight loss. It can be described as the following this graph.
The graph shows the domestic demand and supply of cars within the country. From this graph that you can see, it can be explained that with the international trade, the price of cars fell from P1 to P2. The consumer increased their consumption from Q2 to Q3. Manufacturers reduced production from Q2 to Q1, and the total welfare increased in the big triangle area, and the volume of import cars is Q1 to Q3. After the increase in import tax, car price increased from P2 to P star, causing consumer to reduce their consumption from Q3 to Q double star. As the price of cars increased due to the import tariff, the domestic market price increased, thereby incentivizing manufacturers to produce more cars from Q1 to Q star. Import tariff have reduced the overall welfare of the country from this big triangle area to the yellow triangle area. The effect of the import tax has caused deadweight loss in the economy, but since part of it become government revenue, deadweight loss are equal to the purple area, these two purple area. The portion that becomes government revenue or tax collected is the green area, the rectangle area here.
The conclusion, therefore, it can be concluded that the import tax have resulted in higher car price, decreased consumption, increased production, decreased import, increased government income, declined domestic welfare, and deadweight loss occur in the economy. Thank you for your attention.